I turned off monetization on it too, by the way.
Yeah, like we talked about, we'll turn it back on after we get done. Yeah. Oh, are we
That's
live
not
already?
bad. Yep.
No warning. That's the
Because
nicey
nobody's
way.
here. Nobody's here yet, so this is perfect. I didn't message anybody to tell them we were going live. Probably should have.
So?
It
it's,
is
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve
Yeah.
2024. And we don't want to go hang out with the crazy people out there. We want to be somewhat chill and safe in our hotel room.
Hotel room. Yeah.
It's another hotel live stream. And we said we were gonna start doing more of these, so this is us doing more live streams.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna kind of talk a little bit like what we would do for the podcast, only because I don't know that we're gonna get to the studio before the end of the month, because it is the end of the month. So yeah. So 2024 was a very adventurous year for us. We did.
Let's start with what we're up to, though. What have you been up to?
What are we up to? Okay, so we are finishing out the year. I'm working currently. I'm on contract because I'm down today. Thankfully, I worked last night, and we had a really good Christmas. We had everybody come up and stay with us for Christmas, and we wanted to do like Christmas jammies, and Gary and I were the only ones that really put them on. I mean, people were encouraged, I think. And I think next year I threw out the idea that everybody dresses up like a Christmas movie. So we'll see if that works next year. And and we're gonna get our pod. We're gonna ship our pod with all of our stuff to Georgia.
Yeah, we got to call them, so it'll be probably not the first, but the second we'll call them, get that all scheduled to get it to Georgia so we can at least get some of our stuff back.
Yeah, so I'm excited that we're gonna get our stuff, and yeah, that's kind of what we're up to. What have you been up to?
Not too much. Editing videos, kind of keeping up with that. We got a lot of end of the year tax stuff that we got to go through, like our books and stuff, so we'll be doing that for the next couple days. There's supposed to be a huge snowstorm coming through. Not looking forward to that. I'm not a huge fan of snow, but
We talked about maybe like packing a bag and going somewhere warmer for a couple days.
But so yeah, that's kind of what that's going at. I watched the Superman and Lois finale. That was a couple
sad?
weeks ago. It was sad, but it was a good show. So if you haven't watched it, it's definitely worth watching. It was one of like the better ones. It kind of went a little bit down in the third season, but the last season was really good, and it's definitely worth a watch. So if you're a fan of Superman, that show's kind of like a hidden gem that they really haven't promoted very well.
I watched the earlier seasons, but I think I kind of dropped off the last few seasons of the show. So maybe
There's only 4. So.
Okay, well then maybe I only watched the first season. So maybe I should go back and watch it. I don't know. We're always looking for like shows to rewatch. Oh yeah, that's right. We're rewatching Gilmore Girls.
We are, yeah.
And
That's something.
there is a lot. There's a lot that we could say about it. Maybe we'll put Gilmore Girls on in the background. Or Sister Wives, one of the two. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll put a certain show on in the background.
Yeah.
While we...
Yeah, we have to figure out what we're going to kind of peruse while we're doing this. It is turning into 2025. We are in like downtown Buckhead, technically, but Atlanta. Most people would consider this Atlanta if you're not from here. But there's nothing going on. Like, it's quiet out there. The lights across the street are actually dimmer than they usually are. They're normally kind of bright, and it's dim tonight. I don't know why. And we didn't hear about anything around the hotel. We did get a lovely flyer from the hotel to tell us that they're like reducing services for the first, and like, oh, we're letting our housekeeping staff spend time with their family. When in reality, it's because they don't want to pay their housekeeping staff holiday pay. Let's be honest. But
and maybe somebody called in. I don't know. Maybe somebody called in and they're like, well, we're gonna have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Or maybe they all quit.
I don't know.
It's possible. There's a lot of factors.
You should check out our TikTok that we just put on TikTok about the
The
you know
locks.
asking for locks, and then also the elevator thing was certified like a year or two ago, and it needed to be done.
Well, okay, so when we first came here and we stayed at this hotel, there was a lady that was cooking breakfast downstairs, and Gary had a wonderful experience with her.
I mean, it was just chaotic. It wasn't bad or good. It was just chaotic.
She is no longer here.
Yeah. I mean, she was talking to herself at the time, so that doesn't surprise me. She was talking like out loud to herself, like, "Oh, keep smiling, just keep smiling. We got to keep smiling," and I'm just like, what is
Poor
going
thing.
on?
She was probably stressed. Like,
Oh,
I
she
can't-
definitely was. There was at least, I would say, 10 people waiting for, and she was just making like one of those omelet type of things that they do at the Element. If you haven't seen it, check out our Jacksonville video. I showed in a little more detail. But they do like an omelet station, but they also have like fancy stuff. So it was like pancakes with a little bit of omelet and stuff. And she's doing that, and she's literally like talking to herself, keep smiling, we can get through this. She was definitely having a meltdown.
I never tried the one in Jacksonville, so was the food, like, was it like even, like more even keel in Jacksonville, or was it kind of crazy like this one?
So the chef was a little better at managing like time management in Jacksonville, so it went smoother. She was clearly a little more less inexperienced. She was a little inexperienced, I'm guessing.
So maybe like
So she
she's
was
not
kinda
really
struggling.
a short order cook.
Yeah, she's a little bit struggling, but the food came out good. No hate to the food, but it was just she was doing a little bit of struggling.
Yeah, so things are different at this one than the other one. We didn't get it. They don't have a 1-bedroom at this hotel either that I have seen available, nor did they offer like that as an upgrade for us, which I thought was interesting.
But they're supposed to have one.
They're
have a
supposed to
bedroom.
have one, but I never see it available to book, so I don't know if it's like always booked or like they're just they've decided not to. So
Yeah, this year alone, y'all, we spent over probably 270 days in a hotel. Insane. And that's just the Hilton and the Marriott's.
yeah.
We also went to like any Vegas hotels don't count under that. Any of like when we were at the
Little
Grand
small.
Canyon Railroad, that doesn't count. So we were probably close to about 300 days in a hotel this year.
It's been a busy year of travel and going a bunch of places, and next year isn't gonna be any different.
Yeah, we're starting to plan now for like where we're going. We know we start in January. We'll be back in LA. Beyond that, we're thinking about going either staying in LA for a while or going to Las Vegas for a little bit, just for like a breather and kind of getting out of the Southeast.
Yeah, we miss the West Coast, y'all. We miss it. So I miss the West Coast. East Coast it's nice in its own. It has its own things, like Waffle House, but
Yeah, definitely subscribe to the channel. We actually went to the Waffle House Museum. I'm actually editing that video right now. That place was so cool.
yeah, and that place is like 4 times a year they open it up to the public.
There's no guarantees. They normally do it about 4 times a year. And then you can schedule an appointment some Wednesdays, but you have to get in and they only allow like 10 people per tour.
I think we're gonna try that next year. We're gonna try and
Yeah, we're gonna try
actually
to get
do
that
the
done.
tour, because you gotta like, with us and our schedule, we have to like put it on paper and we have to put it in the calendar so that we can actually get there and do it. Otherwise, work contracts come up and then we're like, oh no, like we were gonna go do this, and you know, everything kind of just implodes on itself. So we're gonna try and be a little better next year, because we want to do some cons. We want to do another road trip. I think we're gonna go like commit to like a road trip a year, because like the year before last we did the road trip in New York. Last year we did our road trip from Vegas to Georgia. So I think like at least one road trip a year seems to be our thing.
Yeah, we're sort of tossed up between Yellowstone is one of them, possibly going back to the Grand Canyon's another one, and then there's a few other we're sort of tossing up between. So we're excited for that.
We might go to Field of Dreams. We're gonna try and go to Wrigley Field and go see the Braves play at Wrigley Field. That is on our radar. We want to go to a Dodgers game and go see my boy Freddie. My boy Freddie. We're gonna do Brave Spring Training.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and throw that on the calendar. We've got some concerts
Yeah,
on
we've
the
already got some concerts.
calendar.
We got another This Wild Life concert this
Which
year
we're
we're going
so
to.
excited about.
If you never heard This Wild Life, definitely check them out. Awesome band.
And then, yeah, that's kind of like preliminary of like what's sort of been sprinkled on the calendar. We're gonna like sit down and really like comb through all of the things and.
Well, we're lucky because that storm's going to trap us inside for the next like week after we get done with this
God, I hope
contract.
not.
So we'll have plenty of time to get some of these like details kind of
I
fished out.
texted his dad today and I was like, "Hey, did you see snow?" Because he's been really wanting snow, and he's like, "I'll believe it when I see it," and I think it's gonna happen because it hasn't come off the weather report.
I just hope it's not that much. We're in northern Georgia, so we are somewhat kind of in the middle of where the cold front's supposed to go. It's supposed to go all the way down to Florida, which is always crazy. But I actually have seen ice and snow in Southwest Florida, but it's an extremely rare occurrence.
We
Very
had
rare.
snow once a long time ago in Tallahassee
Mhm.
too. I remember we came outside and like it was like flurrying. It didn't stick, like it wasn't like anything crazy like you get in the Northeast, but there were snowflakes and they were falling, and that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
So
I disagree on that. I'm not a fan of snow.
he is not. He's not a fan of snow at all.
Well, I mean, we lived in Syracuse, and I had to shovel.
And we lived in
So
Albany.
if you've ever had to live in like the snowiest place in the country other than Buffalo, and it's technically Syracuse wins sometimes that snowfall level. It's just not an experience you ever want to relive.
And we lived in Albany, and he had to shovel.
I did have to shovel in Albany as well.
Albany didn't get as much snow as Syracuse did, but they still got snow. Yeah, I was looking at a picture actually a couple hours ago.
Yeah, we were actually recapping. I think it was
2021.
2 years ago.
Mhm.
2 years ago, but that would have been longer than that because we were in Vegas. So you
We
just
moved-
posted that.
Yeah, so we moved to Vegas in March of 2021.
I don't know. We were in Vegas
Yeah.
for a couple years.
We
right?
don't know.
But so I think you just posted that picture out of date. But anyways, we saw the
did.
picture and we were thinking about Albany and the snow. No thanks. So on to happier topics.
Yeah.
This year.
This
year was
year.
crazy. It's been one of the most travel-filled years of my life, for sure.
Yeah, even more so
Um,
than
we've been-
2023.
Yeah, of course, because we lived in a hotel. I mean, the previous year we were probably around 200 days in a hotel, a little bit
Yeah.
over 200. Now we're up to almost 300.
Yeah. And we decided the year before last, we were, not that we were done with Las Vegas, but we were ready for the next step. And we were like, well, where do we want to go? Where do we see ourselves? And so we were like, let's just pack everything up and let's see where the universe takes us, essentially. We thought we were going to go to Orlando, and that just didn't end up panning out for us, at least not right now. And we ended up in Georgia.
Well, I mean, again, for the 65 days, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we
And
haven't.
not even that long. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we packed everything up. We sold like 80% of our stuff. Like, we were giving out stuff out of our garage. We're like, who wants this? Who wants this?
Mhm.
One lady showed up when she was mad at us because we didn't tell her we had more stuff for her. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I wasn't ready to get rid of it yet. I wasn't really sure what we were doing with it. Yeah, so we like sold like 80% of our stuff, and the other 20% is in a storage pod. Hopefully.
It should be here in the next couple weeks. So at least we'll have access to it. We're just going to put it in a storage unit here so we can get into it, because with the cold weather, we didn't plan on staying this transient for this long. We had expected to for a couple months, but then like Nate's talked about, we were really leaning towards Orlando, so that's kind of where we were going back to. And then the Disney stuff happened, and it just didn't feel like a good fit for us. And with the channel, we didn't want to just go back to Disney vlogging again, which we love, but we didn't just want that to be the only thing our channel was about again. And so we were sort of debating like where we would go, and we've just sort of hit this kind of like in-between place where we're not really sure what's next in regards to that part of it, but we know that we want to just keep exploring and having fun.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's just figure this out, but we need winter clothes. 'Cause
Yeah.
we only packed our summer stuff, really. I mean, so
We've been living out of 2 suitcases.
yeah, I mean, I literally had about 8 shirts. 8 shirts that we
10
lived
pairs of
out
underwear,
for about like
8
I would
months?
say, yeah.
6 months?
Well, we bought
Because I
some.
bought you some more shirts.
Right, you bought me some more shirts about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like that's when we started actually like the Yoshi shirt. That's a new shirt.
Yeah.
I was living out of like 12, 14 pairs of underwear and 6 shirts. That's all we
We were
had.
doing laundry like all the
Oh,
time.
yeah, we had to do it once a week. Otherwise, we would have absolutely no clothes. Well, I wouldn't. You have a little more clothes than I do, but
Yeah.
I
I
wouldn't have
bought
anything.
some more clothes before he did.
And I had one pair of jeans. Well, no,
You're now at to
Yeah,
4.
right. But I had one pair of
Mhm.
jeans and one pair of khakis, and then like 6 pairs of shorts, and that was kind of it. That was kind of it for my whole
Because we
wardrobe.
were like, oh, like this will get us through, and like if we need to get our clothes again, we'll just go back to the storage unit and we'll get more clothes, and that didn't happen. So here it is, end of December, and we're like freezing in shorts.
Yeah. So we've got a little bit of clothes now.
Mhm.
Not hating on it, it's just that was our
No.
plan.
Yeah.
And so now we're like, let's get the pod here so we don't have to rebuy everything. Is kind of our mindset in regards to that. And it's just one of the pods. It's not anything really big. It is the bigger one, but it's only filled up about, I would say,
2/3,
you can actually
if
see the
that.
video on our channel, but it's about like halfway. I would say halfway, honestly. We probably could have got away with the smaller pod, but we just wanted to be safe and make sure everything fit in there because we had some Secret Lab desk chairs that we really liked, and we wanted to
Yeah.
make sure we got those to our new studio whenever that gets built.
Yeah, so that's another big thing that's coming next year. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We're gonna be building our podcast studio. Like we're gonna build it. Like
No,
not
we-
just put it in a room somewhere.
Yeah, we're gonna buy one of those like mobile, well, not mobile, but I guess pre-constructed shed things, kind of things.
Mhm.
Either that or one of those metal frame ones.
Mhm.
We're gonna set it. We've got a place that we've gotten that's gonna let us build there.
Mhm.
We haven't really picked the exact size yet, but once that all gets done, it should be a pretty quick process.
Yeah, we're hoping first quarter of 2025 to have that done.
Yeah.
So we can really hone in on the podcast, and because we've got a lot of podcast ideas and we've got a lot of show ideas that we really want to develop, and we really need the space to kind of branch out a little bit and be that creative side, because where we're currently at, we really don't have that sound space to be able to give the best quality that we want to give and to really focus the channel the way we want to. So we're hoping that this will help kind of direct that a little bit better.
Yeah, it takes about, I'd say 45 minutes to an hour to set up the soundboard, the lights, the cameras, all of that stuff. And so if we can, and that's just set up, and then about 45 minutes to an hour to break down. So that's 2 hours.
Mhm.
And then we really don't have a great space for it. So it becomes a kind of a tight pinch when
Mhm.
it comes to actually filming stuff. And it's also difficult. When we lived in Vegas, we could literally just walk into it was an individual room, just start filming, do whatever we wanted. And it was really quick, really easy. Just, set up the sound, turn on the
Mhm.
lights, you're all good to go. And we want to be more like that so that we
Mhm.
can actually do more stuff with our awkward chats and expand that a little bit too to some other stuff too that we're thinking about.
Yeah, the cool thing will be we can make the lights customized to the way we want it. We can set up the mics the way we want it. We can do the backgrounds the way we want it. We can soundproof it
Mhm.
the way we want it. So that part I think is probably the most exciting, is being able to have a space, because this will be the first time we've ever had a space that we can truly 100% make
'cause
it
we've
ours.
rented. We
Yeah.
rented our
So
since I've left my parents, really. We've rented, really.
mhm. We're nomads. I'm gonna be honest. Let's think about it. We met. So this is the other thing that's coming up next year. We will have been together for 20 years, which maybe we'll do that for Valentine's Day. But from the time we've been together, we have lived in so many places. We have just been. It's not that we're not willing to commit to places. We just get places and we're this doesn't feel like home. Let's try something new. We don't have anything tying us down, so why stay in one place if we're not truly 100% happy?
I think it started out first with just finding jobs. We just
Mhm.
went wherever the job was, went wherever school was. Now it's just kind of where do we want to be?
Mhm.
So it's kind of a different perspective now because we don't really know yet where the right place for us is yet.
We still love the West Coast, and I think ultimately one day that may be where the dust settles.
Yeah, Nace's been we've both been rewatching Sister Wives, and we're on the Vegas era of Sister Wives.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know, they lived in Vegas for some time. I don't know the exact amount of time, and that really doesn't matter. But they lived in Vegas, so we're kind of in those seasons. And every time we see it, we're like, oh, I miss Vegas.
Yeah, I miss
It's
Vegas.
such a pretty place.
We miss the sights. We miss the food.
I miss the weather, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't miss the scorpions, but
To be fair, we never had scorpions. I'm gonna be honest, I never saw them. If they were there, they hid very well. And we had a ritual when we got back. We would turn on the black lights, because apparently you can see them really well with black lights. And we would like strip the covers back, because we'd be gone for like 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And we would be like, okay, I'm not crawling into the bed with no scorpions.
yeah, with their LED black lights, I don't know how well they
We
actually
don't know
work.
how well they actually worked. But again, I never saw them in our place, or I had plenty of people that I knew in Las Vegas that had scorpions, but we thankfully never had that problem in our place that I knew of. So
And I've been stung by a wasp and stuff before, so I feel like it's going to be that level of
Recently.
sting. Yeah, recently. I actually yellow jacket, but I feel like it's that level of sting, so that kind of takes out a little bit of the fear. You think like as a kid, between getting stuck in quicksand, right? Because I thought that was something that stopped, drop, and roll. Like I thought a lot of people we were going to be catching on fire a lot. And then scorpions. I thought scorpions were going to like be this massive terror that would kill you if they stung you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case. I
No.
think that's a little bit of an exaggeration.
yeah, I think there's a lot of fear tactics that go into being a child, and
Especially in our era.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like being a kid now. Can't imagine.
So, again, on to better stuff. So we were supposed to do our recap of the year, and she already skipped to our future plans. So
Well, we're
let's-
gonna go back. We're gonna keep going back.
Yeah, so let's go back. So, awesome year. Honestly, like...
We started off the year in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it was technically Jacksonville Beach. We started off the year in Jacksonville Beach. We celebrated the actual New Year's there.
Did
Wasn't
we?
it?
No,
Or
We
was it
never-
right after?
it was right after New Year's. Like I want to say it was like a couple days after New Year's that we left.
And that was fun. It was a
Mhm.
good start to the year. A little cold since it was Jacksonville Beach, but really fun.
Yeah, I love Jacksonville Beach. Honestly, I would go back. It was fun. We've driven through a few times too, and it hasn't been bad. We liked it.
And it's right by St. Augustine, which we're
Yeah.
planning on going back to maybe this year, hopefully, because it was a good experience. We just didn't get to see everything.
Mm-mm. We had about 48 hours in St. Augustine, and I really liked it. It's probably one of my favorite little Florida towns.
Yeah, the Castillo San DeMarco.
Castillo San DeMarcus? I don't know. Yeah.
Really cool fort. The old town, really awesome looking.
But that was at the end of the year.
Yeah.
That was at the end of the year that we did that. Where did we go in February? I think we went to LA. I went to LA a bunch. He was back at home packing.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of packing work there.
Between February and April, it was a lot of packing, and me going to work, and you packing, and me going to work. That was kind of like that first half of the year, because we had to get out, we had to do stuff, we had to sell stuff. Somebody had to be there to sell the stuff, because when we were home, we were only home for a couple days. And then your first trip after Jacksonville was San Francisco.
Sacramento first. We went to Sacramento.
Yeah, well, we flew into Oakland.
Yeah, and we went to Sacramento for work. And I got to see the whole like gold rush area, which by the way, Sacramento, really cool.
Yeah,
Some
that's
really
a cool
ornate buildings. There, you can tell there used to be a lot of wealth there. Really kind of cool architecture.
A little uppity.
I mean, I don't know about that. The
That could have been
hotel
the
was-
area we were in.
Yeah, but this hotel's uppity too, and it shouldn't be.
That's true.
So,
That's
I
true.
think it's just kind of a downtown hotel-y thing. That's what she's referring to. But Little Soho.
Little Soho?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like a little
Soho.
gentrified area.
Yeah, which is and had the basketball stadium.
We saw the California State Capitol.
We did, yeah.
And it was cool because they had like trees from like all over the state.
All over the world.
Was it all over the world?
Yeah, it was all over the world.
And like, yeah, so they had like all these trees, and like they had little plaques, and it said like what the tree was and where it was from, and a lot of signs that said don't eat the fruit off the trees.
Yeah. And don't touch the trees. The usual.
Yeah.
The usual.
Then we went to this really old house. We
That
didn't
was
go inside.
the first governor of California. It was his house.
We just kind of walked around the outside because I don't think it was open that day or something.
It was, but you couldn't take film or pictures
Videos.
inside, so we were like, it's not really worth it to go inside.
Yeah, so we just walked around the outside and
Did a lot of cool stuff.
yeah.
And then we headed to San Francisco, which was a dream. I mean, ever since I watched Full House, honestly, going across the Golden Gate Bridge.
I keep going to the Family Matters song. This
was-
is the problem that we had. We did this when we were in San Francisco. In my head, I start singing the freaking Family Matters song and not Full House.
Okay. But it was awesome.
Mhm.
Alcatraz.
It was cool.
It was cool. They hype it up, I think, a little bit. It should be.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, you gotta go to Alcatraz. And it's cool,
Yeah.
but it's smaller than you think it is, I feel
Yeah.
like it feels so big in movies, and even when you're looking at it from shore, it seems like so big, and then you get there and it just seems so small. I mean, there's only like 300 prisoners at a time there, max. Like,
Yeah, and the part that you actually can tour and like have like the audio tour from is
just kind of like the
really
main buildings
small,
mostly.
small
Yeah.
too. Everything else is kind of vastly spread out, and a lot of it's kind of in ruins, I would say.
They definitely have some buildings that are in disrepair for sure.
But it's a bird sanctuary,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently they also do like some botany stuff out there too with like different plants. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. And then going across the Golden Gate Bridge, really cool.
The seals,
And the seals at the Pier
Pier
56? is that what it is?
59, something like that. 52, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a famous. It's down at the
Mhm.
piers. Really cool. Going to Ghirardelli,
Mm-hmm.
seeing both the current one and the original. That was
That
really
was
cool.
cool.
Seeing the fortune cookie factory.
Oh yeah.
That was one of the
Yeah, we got to
neatest
see
things.
a real throwdown
Yeah,
in Chinatown.
yeah.
Like, this lady came in and she was pissed off that her fortune cookies weren't right or something like that. Oh, they were speaking in another language, but occasionally they dropped some English words, and we were just like, And it was a tiny little shop.
Oh yeah.
There was nowhere, like, you walk in and it's like, and like in front of you are all the people making the fortune cookies, which was so cool to see. But like pretty much like you just had to get your shit and get out. So that's kind of what we ended up doing.
And then we had some authentic San Francisco food.
Mm-hmm.
Bowdens. Bowdens?
Bowdens sourdough.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Dreamy. And the sweet, like cinnamony sourdough stuff that they make, fantastic.
So good. I could go back to San Francisco for that sourdough. That sourdough was delicious. So good. And then you got food poisoning.
They did, yeah.
True Gary fashion. He got food poisoning. And those are kind of the highlights of San Francisco. That bus ride was unhinged.
It wasn't too crazy until you actually hit the San Francisco Bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge rather. That was an experience going in a double-decker bridge over the San Francisco Bridge. It's super cold and really windy. And the first bus driver we had was going about 60 or 70 on a road that
He was going fast.
like it's only supposed to be 20.
He was going fast. Rick and Bobby.
Yeah, he was going fast. But man, what an experience! Like being able to take those pictures, just taking that all in. Then we went to the Walt Disney Family Museum.
That was cool.
We went to the LucasArts building.
Yeah, we saw the Yoda statue. He actually went inside and saw a whole lot more and got it on tape.
Yeah, which, apparently you're not supposed to tape them there. But they didn't tell me not to, so...
They didn't tell him until he had already filmed.
They didn't tell me anything. They didn't say anything to me.
That's true. They didn't
They
say
never
anything
said
to him.
anything to me,
They said
yeah.
something to somebody else.
Yeah,
so.
they said somebody, as I was leaving, they were talking to somebody else, don't film in here, and I'm like, to the person, I'm just like, oh, maybe you should have said that to me, but I am one who is more, ask permission later,
Ask for forgiveness.
Ask for
permission.
forgiveness, yeah.
Yeah. Which I think is really cool. I saw the footage. Like, they had some really cool stuff in the LucasArts
Yeah,
building.
they have
like,
the robot from Rogue One, life size. I'm not sure if it's an actual filming model, but then they have like if you guys remember Master Replica, they typically make like props, basically like movie-esque props. And so they had all their original like moldings for lightsabers and stuff there, Master Replica, which was really cool. Seeing C-3PO looking down at Yoda.
Yeah, he like
thing.
he's in the window and he like looks down on you.
And then an R2D2's in the lobby of the thing. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
That was
Just
that
thinking
was cool.
that's where like they
Star Wars.
Yeah. That's where like
Star Wars, y'all.
They
like,
probably filmed the trench run in one of those rooms with a mini model kit and stuff. I
like
mean,
their sound, like their voiceovers and like all of like the technical sets, like when they like made their dioramas and stuff. Like I can only imagine how cool it would be to go to work in a building like that.
and it's like a whole campus too. So you're like walking around there, and there's just a bunch of people with like Star Wars T-shirts on,
So cool.
walking around. That was
I want to
awesome.
work for LucasArts. Hey, LucasArts. I would move to San Francisco and work for LucasArts. I don't know what I would do for you, but you find a job for me, I'd do it. But that would be like such a cool campus to work on. Like I always think about like these companies that have these really cool campuses, and I'm like, oh, that would be so cool. I realize there's a downside to some of those, like Epic, like who does like the EMR systems for hospitals. Their campus is supposed to be insane. It's like over like 10 acres. They have like castles and all of that stuff. Like I can imagine like going to work for a tech company and like you feel like you're in a playground.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of like work, but still like it's gotta be better than like sitting looking at Tina from accounting pick her nose, right? But anywho, that was really cool. I like that a lot. And going to the Walt Disney Family Museum and seeing kind of a little bit of the history of the person behind Disney. Now, while we don't necessarily care for where Disney's at right now, we still cherish like the past and like what kind of made us love Disney, and so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, classic Disney, man.
Mm-hmm. We even took a picture like with a fake noodle.
Yeah,
Like-
it was in the dog and cat exhibit that they had.
Yeah, Lady and the
And
Tramp.
You could redo the Lady and the Tramp, yeah.
That was kind of cute. We got to sit on the bench, one of the
Yeah.
benches.
On the bench, where Walt supposedly came up with the idea for Disneyland.
Yeah, that was like a full circle moment. I didn't cry or anything. It wasn't like that, but it was like, yeah. What else did we do?
That was
I think
mostly
that was
for
it.
there, yeah. Then we headed out of San Francisco, explored most of the state of California.
Oh yeah, we went to Fresno.
Yeah, so we explored most of the state of California. Then we went to Vegas for a little bit, which was fun being back in Vegas, getting to stay at Circa at the stadium swim and seeing all that stuff. Fun experience, you know.
Yeah.
It's I always wanted to stay on Fremont Street, like directly on it. We've stayed at the Plaza a couple times, but I wanted to stay kind of on it. It was definitely different and loud.
Mm-hmm. It was very loud. Our room looked over at the pool, and they charge you more for a pool view. And it's interesting because you're not going to sleep. If you got a pool view and a Fremont view, that base is going to like 3 in the morning. It turns off for about 2 or 3 hours and then right back up at 6 a.m.
Yep.
So as soon as it stops, you kind of lay in bed and you're like, huh? Because you get used to the boof, 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 boof. And then all of a sudden you don't hear it anymore and you're like, oh, that's trippy. It was fun. I liked staying on Fremont Street. I would stay on Fremont Street again.
I would too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's kind of the funner part of Vegas right now. I feel like a lot of the Vegas is a little bit overpriced for what it is.
It's a vibe.
And then you get the kind of Fremont, which is a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
It's not New Orleans cheap, but it's
No.
definitely cheaper.
But it is a vibe. It is a vibe. So we stayed in Vegas for, I think, like 2 days.
Yeah. Then we started our Route 66 trip,
Mm-hmm.
which was, again, another
So cool.
once-in-a-lifetime thing that we've wanted to do forever and finally had the opportunity to do it. We didn't get to tour the entire Route 66.
No.
But we have seen most of it at this point. We've
Yeah.
seen probably about 75%, if not about 80% of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely Americana. Americana
yeah.
reimagined. Seeing the small towns, the old neons, the old hotels. I mean, that was like a dream, honestly, to get to be able to see that and to like drive through it and just be able to take it all in with no real
And we
place to
really
go.
took our time. Like,
Yeah.
we really didn't, like, we had kind of some endpoints along the way where, like, we had some goals, like, okay, we want to try and make it to this city by the end of this day. But we would just drive, and then, like, we would get off, and we would drive through the little town, we would see all the things, we'd get back on the freeway, and then we'd pull off, and we'd drive through the little towns, and then we'd get back on. And we saw the, like, the teepee motels.
Oh, those are so cool.
Yeah. He really wanted to stay in one.
But it's too close to the Grand Canyon.
It was very close to the
And
Grand
we
Canyon.
wanted to stay at the Grand Canyon Hotel and Railroad because we wanted to do the railroad thing. So that just took priority over it.
Might happen next time. Next time, maybe? I don't know. We do want to go back to the Grand Canyon and stay at the lodge up there because there was a couple of hotels up there, which I personally had no idea that those were really a thing. So I think in the future we would definitely possibly stay.
And having seen Route 66, we have an idea of what it's like now, too. So we know of a couple of the towns we'd want to stop at, a couple of towns we want to spend some time at. So that's sort of how we approach it. One of the things we've learned this year specifically is like when we go to new places, our first step is to do kind of touristy stuff, just kind of feel the city out, see it. So we don't mind doing things like the big bus tours and all that stuff. And it gives you kind of an overview of what the city looks like and how the city functions and where some stuff is. And then when we go back, we kind of get into the more niche stuff.
Yep.
That's our goals, you know, because I feel like it's the best way to do it. And sometimes people are like, oh, why do all of the touristy stuff? It's because it really does introduce you to the city.
It does.
You got to watch out for the scams, but it really does introduce you to the city.
You get the lay of the land, and for the most part, it seems like you can kind of get like a little sampling of what it is really like there, and then if you like it, come back and do more niche stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
So we got some cities we want to visit. We've got some areas we want to visit, especially like going to the TP Hotel.
Yeah.
For sure. There's a couple of cities that are abandoned that we passed that
God.
we just missed the stop for. So in returning, we would definitely stop there and do a
Yeah.
little bit of exploration there.
There was like a couple ghost towns that we drove past.
There's the Ghost Hotel that we actually saw and spent a little time out there looking at it. But staying there, I think that will be an option too. So there's a bunch of stuff. Plus finishing up to Chicago
Yeah.
and seeing that, I'd really want to do too.
Yeah, so we went through Grand Canyon. We stayed there for 2 days. And then we ended up in New Mexico. Yeah, we went to New Mexico. And Albuquerque was interesting. I would go back, but I don't really know exactly what I would look at. It was cool. We got to see the Rio Grande, a little portion of the Rio Grande, so that was cool. Next day we got up, we went to Texas. Texas was the next day, and that one was pretty cool because we went to the Cadillac Ranch.
Yeah, which was again one of those once in a lifetime things, you know.
Yeah. Seeing those like, I don't know how long they're gonna be there. Like, they're definitely falling into disarray.
I feel like they'll repair them. They typically
Hopefully they do. But, you know, you never know how long something's gonna be around. And then we were like, oh, the big, it was actually not really on our bucket list, but the big Texas steakhouse place.
the Big Texan.
We saw billboards for it. I'm like, it's in Alamo. We're in Alamo. Let's do it. So we did, and it took longer than I thought it was going to take.
Yeah, because we had actually planned on going to the VW Ranch too, which is right by there, and it's basically VW bugs, the same way the Cadillac Ranch is, but it's a little further towards Oklahoma. We were going to hit that one up too, but the Big Texan took 3 hours.
Yeah. So
But worth it.
it was so cool. They had these musicians that kind of like came around the tables and they like sang and like did a couple of things. We got to watch 4 people try to finish the challenge. One person lost severely.
And lost his lunch and dinner at the time.
Yeah, he lost everything. And still asked for a to-go box.
I think that's a pride thing.
I don't think I could. I would be like, I'm not going to eat steak for a while. I don't think I'm going to be able to look at steak. But the food, for it to be touristy and for it to be like a tourist stop, the food was so good.
Oh yeah.
So good. And
Oh,
not
yeah.
crazy expensive.
Yeah, the yeast roll.
The salad, the ranch was homemade. The tea was delicious. I think we got dessert.
Yep.
Everything was so good. Like,
Yeah.
I would go back there. Actually, I'd probably go back there and stay there because they have a hotel. They had, like, you can stay in a wagon.
They have a pool that's shaped like Texas.
Yeah, I would go back there. If you're driving through Alamo, you gotta stop.
Amarillo.
At the big Amarillo. I don't know why I think Alamo.
King of the Hill.
King of
Alamo
the
beer.
Hill. King of the Hill. Bobby.
Then we made it to Oklahoma City. Great food in Oklahoma City. Holy cow, is there some great food in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
We had an onion burger, which is apparently a thing there. Oh, chef's kiss.
It was from a ranch, like it was a
Deep
guy's
fried
own
peanut
cattle.
butter and jelly sandwich.
Oh. Homemade lemonade. Everything was homemade.
Yeah.
And it was just this hole in the wall, like, ranch dude's burger joint in downtown Oklahoma City.
Sun Cattle Co.
Crazy enough, Zach Bryan was in town that night.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dang it, could have gone to go see Zach Bryan. I was like, no, I'm going to go later in the year with my friend, and it didn't happen. So, a little bummed about that. But it was really cool. I got to see my cousin that I haven't seen in like 20-something years, and got to catch up with him a little bit and see his kids and just kind of see where he's at. And Oklahoma City was really nice, I have to say. Like, it was a cute little town. He actually lived like right off of Route 66, which was really cool. Which was kind of ironic. I was like, oh, Route 66, like right there. That's like so cool. And then we packed up also that hotel that we stayed in.
Oh, that's nothing to write home about. Then we headed to Little Rock.
Yeah,
that
which
was awesome.
blew us away. We went into Little Rock not expecting a whole lot.
Yeah.
We really did. We rolled in. It was dark when we rolled in. Gary found us a hotel. The hotel was spectacular. Like, 10 out of 10. Would stay there again. It was in downtown Little Rock. And there was a barber shop in there. The lounge was so cool.
The lounge was a 10 out of 10. That's the first 10 out of 10 lounge we've ever had.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
The room was comfy. The staff was great. Honestly, like, we would stay there again. And the next day we got up and then we explored a little bit. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, we went to the Little Rock 5 high school, which was definitely a experience that takes you back.
It was.
We went to the Billy Bass Hall of Fame to break it up, or Billy Bass Retirement Home, I'm sorry. And we've actually had people comment that they donated their fish.
Which was cool.
It was funny. I'm just like, eh.
That's fantastic.
So that's cool that they saw their fish in our video. That's really cool. Which is a fun experience. The food's good, you know.
We saw the last relic from Gone with the Wind.
The last remaining set piece. Yep.
From Gone with the Wind.
So that is supposedly the last remaining set piece, which was a really cool park. Definitely go there and check it out. And even the inside of it, it's fascinating how, like, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like the steps and stuff where like people have walked, have gotten dipped and stuff. So it's like you stand in the place where like a ton of people have gone through and been like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And like you get that opportunity to stand in like history.
It was such a pretty park, like such a pretty park. And there was still more we could have explored in Little Rock, but we had to get going because we were, not that we were on a timeline, but like.
Well, we were at this point because we had a Peabody. We had
we made
reservation at the Peabody.
So we got in the car and we drove to Memphis.
Which we've been to before, but it's still fun to go back there. We had never stayed at the Peabody, and that's definitely a recommend for us.
That was also another 10 out of 10 hotel for us. And if you are going to go to Memphis, I think you need to stay at the Peabody. The Peabody is such a cool hotel. They have little baby ducks. Well, maybe they're bigger ducks, but they have about 6 or 7 ducks that live at the hotel, and they're parade them in every morning, and they sit in the little fountain all day long, and they feed, and like they just hang out there. And then at the end of the day, they march them back upstairs in the elevator up to their little like nest thing up on the roof, and you can actually go up to their like little nest thing up at the roof and see them. We didn't get a chance to do that, so when we go back to the Peabody, we're gonna add that to our list because we didn't even find the pool at the Peabody.
Well, we got stuck in just looking at the memorabilia. So they have like this
Yeah.
memorabilia shop with like, that's where Elvis signed his first contract.
Yeah.
So it kind of brings us home for us. We got married by Elvis. We've been to Graceland. We've seen all that stuff.
Happy
New
New
Year's.
Year! Woo! We're almost there.
Yeah, it's like-
We got one more hour.
and you get all that cool stuff there. It's an amazing experience just being in that. So we were
Yeah.
taking all that into.
Yeah, it was. And honestly, when you go to the Peabody Hotel, I have to say it looks like the Hollywood Tower Hotel from
definitely where
like
they got
Tower
some
of
of the vibe
Terror.
from, yeah.
Like genuinely, everybody's dressed like the bellhops. It's very like 1920s, 1930s vibes in there. It's a little bougie. It's a little uppity. I'm not gonna lie. We kind of got a little
to be
like.
fair. To be fair, yeah. To be honest, but
Everything's duck themed though. Like everything's duck themed. They have like little rubber duckies in the drinks. They have like duckies on like your clothes, like that you can buy.
And they had like a station to put your ties and your glasses and stuff in your
Yeah.
room. They have a little closet for your.
They did a turn down service with chocolates.
Yeah, I mean it was a great experience.
It was so cute. It was so cute. Oh no. I'm sorry you hurt your leg. Hopefully you're feeling better. That sucks. Hopefully YouTube's keeping you entertained though. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Being stuck in bed is no fun. No fun. Hopefully you're watching some good stuff. If you've got any recommendations, please, by all means, let me know because I'm always looking for good stuff on YouTube and sometimes it's hard to find it in the algorithm. But yeah, so the Peabody, 10 out of 10, recommend if you're gonna go to Memphis, you need to stay at the Peabody because, and it's right off of Beale Street, which is kind of like Canal Street, which is kind of like Fremont Street. It's kind of like that vibe. It's a shut down street with
I feel
bars.
like it's trying to be that. I don't feel
Yeah,
like it's that good.
I don't think it's anywhere close to Canal Street. I would be Fremont Street, Canal Street, Beale Street.
Unless you're going to drink, then Canal Street's here
Okay.
and Fremont Street's here. But
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'll give it that. I'll give it that.
Both of them were great. Yeah, and then we headed to Georgia for a little bit.
Did we do anything else in Memphis? Oh, we
went
did.
to the pyramid.
We went to the pyramid. We went to the Civil Rights Museum,
Mm-hmm.
and we went to Aretha Franklin's birth house.
Yeah. Lorraine Avenue. And the Lorraine Hotel is the Civil Rights Museum.
Yep.
That
was sombering.
Yeah, that's just, I don't, it's sad, but I don't mean that in a
Yeah.
bad way.
Yeah.
It's a great history lesson, but it's just definitely a sad experience.
I think we have to learn from our history. Otherwise, we're doomed to repeat it as individuals. And I think you made a good point about the Lorraine Motel is that it's death tourism. So, like, in a sense, I can see, like, the importance of, like, going and visiting it and, like, learning from it. But also, like, at the same time, it's about somebody who died. Like, it's memorializing a place that somebody died and, like, dealing with the tragedy of that. So they had like stickers and postcards and stuff there, and I'm like, what? How do I buy a sticker or a postcard about somebody who lost their life trying to make the world a little bit better?
Yeah.
Like, how do I, like, you know, so there's some conflicting emotions there, especially like we heard one of the directors was out there talking about how they're expanding that museum across the street to where the shooter was, which I think just opens like a whole other can of worms.
But it's amazing, and definitely
yeah,
recommend
you should
going
go.
there. And then the pyramid. So we always try to like splice in some happiness and fun
Yeah.
to the very somber things that we've done.
Yeah.
The pyramid was interesting. It was super dark. I don't know how you actually
It was
shop
like the
there.
Luxor, but not.
It's a cool like exhibit to go to and visit, and there's a hotel there. So it's cool in that way, but I don't know how you'd shop there though. I really don't.
Couldn't see shit.
Yeah, we couldn't see. You can't really see much of the, especially the main areas.
And then they have like an elevator that takes you up to the top. And I think there was a restaurant up there, but you had to pay $15.
Yeah, to go up there.
It might have been more. It was a lot of money just to
$50
ride in
per person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
so we
didn't
didn't
do it.
so we didn't do that. And then Aretha Fingersburg House, we've been there before. It's a cool little shack that needs a little bit of love and
It
care.
does.
But
It's in a little bit of a rough side of town. Know that going in.
but yeah, so that was fun. Then we headed back to Georgia for a little bit.
Yeah, and then we got back in the car and we drove about 8 hours. It felt like. I don't know if it's 8 hours. I think it's like 6.
I think so. I think it's like 6, yeah.
But yeah.
And that's kind of how that trip ended. We got a little bit of Route 66 all the way up to Oklahoma City, and then we veered off. And then got here. And then what was next after that? I think we went to LA a bunch.
We did. We went to
So
LA
we went
a
to
bunch.
saw like Chuck's filming locations. If you had never seen Chuck the show, great show.
I feel like we did that before because we did that in my car. Because we took a trip. We were in my car, not a rental car. But we did do that last year. In one of our, before we left Vegas. Yeah, we kind of like slowed our roll on some trips after the big road trip, I feel like.
Well, because at that point you had to get your name switched over and stuff, so TSA pre-check was, we didn't want to run into that issue, so we didn't want to travel very far.
Yeah, so we did LA. Oh, we did, we extended. We were there in July. We were in LA in July, and like between my 2 trips, we stayed like a week longer, and we stayed at the beach.
Yep.
For 5 days.
And sadly, I busted my knee, so we didn't get to really experience the beach very much. But we had a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
I mean, it was a gorgeous hotel room, great views.
It was bougie too.
This time when we go to LA, we're gonna go put our feet in the ocean. I don't care. I don't care if I have to wheel myself out there on a cart. I will get out to the ocean.
I have to crawl.
Yeah, if I have to crawl from the parking lot to the ocean, I'm gonna do it this time.
So yeah, we're thinking about staying and like extending or like coming early. We're not quite sure, but we're gonna do some LA stuff. San Diego, we haven't been there yet.
Yeah, some of our goals for next year too.
Oh, we got to experience an earthquake.
Yeah, we got to experience an earthquake. We got to experience a tornado. So we've got natural disasters down, and we were during hurricanes too. So
yeah.
We've been to hurricanes before.
Hurricanes is like a way of life. We've done snowstorms.
I've been through every category of a hurricane.
Yeah.
So
I think so too.
So after we got back, we went to Arkansas.
I don't want to experience every category of an earthquake or a tornado, though. Just gonna put that out in the universe. Like, it's not like a bucket list bingo card that I'm checking off.
Well, we went to Arkansas. That was the tornado.
Yeah.
It was literally the first night we were there. We had no idea.
No.
I guess we should have probably done a little more research, but Nacy took a contract there because we couldn't fly, and they had an opening. So she's like, well, okay, fine, I'll go. And we get there, and it's a little rainy when we got there, but nothing unusual. We're sitting in the hotel room the second night, and we're just like, okay, what do we want to do? We were thinking about going and finding something to eat or do something else. We were thinking about going to the state line just because we had never been to Missouri at this point, so why not go and check out Missouri? Because we were only like 30 minutes from there.
Yeah.
We're like, should we do it? And then all of a sudden, like, it just starts getting dark outside. And then we hear, wee! And we're like...
Well, we left. We went downstairs, and we came back in the room, and then I'm like, is that sirens?
Yeah.
Like, is that sirens going on?
It's just like, wee!
And we were just, like, really quiet for a minute, and then we're like, oh, I think those are tornado sirens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're just sitting there on this bed like, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
And we're like, I don't have any idea. So we turn on the TV, and there's nothing really on the TV. So we're like, well, let's go downstairs and talk to the staff and be like, hey, what are we supposed to do?
Nobody to be found.
Go downstairs. There's a ton of people in the lobby, but they're all guests.
Yeah.
And the lobby is glass. It's pure glass. And that's where the people are sitting.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, okay, let's look for somebody. The desk is empty. We saw 2 cleaning ladies exit, but they didn't speak English, so stopping them would have been of no value to us. And that was it. We saw nobody else. And so we're like, well, let's go back upstairs, because if we stay here, it's a hall of glass. Yep. Go back upstairs, turn the TV on, and it was just like waiting and having no idea what we were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was a little scary, because all the TVs... the weather app on my phone just kept saying tune into your local like broadcast. So when we're looking at the TV, they're like saying all this technical shit that we don't know, and then they're like, it's about this from this, and we're like, where's that? because we didn't know. Like, we just got there. We didn't know. We were in North Arkansas. We were in Fayetteville. So, like, we didn't know where anything was. But after, I think it was like 3 hours. It was about 3 hours of tornado alarms going off and, like, my phone going off and watching the TV. Finally, they lifted the tornado warnings, and we tried to sleep just a little bit.
Yeah. And then we eventually go downstairs, and as soon as the watch or warning turned into a watch or vice versa,
They reappeared.
The staff reappeared. So they clearly had a safe room to go to. They just didn't let anybody else know about
They
it.
were like, screw all you guys.
Yeah.
Like, y'all can figure
You stand
it out.
in the hall of glass, enjoy yourself.
Enjoy death. So.
So that was that. But then we had a cool experience. We got to go to the Walmart prototype centers,
Yeah, that was
which
cool.
was fascinating because we're actually seeing some of the stuff roll out to our Walmarts,
Yeah.
which makes it even more fascinating.
Yeah, our Walmart, so we were at the Walmart in Murphy, North Carolina, which is like right behind kind of where we live, and they had the carts. They had the carts with the cell phone holders and the cup holders.
Yep. And they had one of the displays like they were doing at the end.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the aisle, there's like a fancy like room display. They have like a bed set up and stuff. They had one of those there.
Yeah, they're definitely pushing it in rural America.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We go to like the Vegas ones. We go to the Atlanta ones. No,
Nothing.
but for some odd reason in the rural areas,
Yeah.
they're pushing them out.
So that was kind of cool to like see that and then see that together, and it was cool. We also got to try some snacks we had never like tried before or seen before, and they were tasty. Some of them not so much.
Yeah, the Little Debbie brownies that you'll see in the video that are like cookies
Oreo?
and cream
Yeah.
Oreo ones. They do weigh about like 4 pounds.
Yeah, they are dense.
They are the densest brownies I've ever seen in my
Dense.
life. Like you bite into them and it's just like.
And then, so that was Arkansas. We were there for almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Almost 2 weeks. And then we got back in the car. We drove back to Georgia. And then it was time for Thanksgiving, I think. I think it was Thanksgiving
It's
time.
Thanksgiving time.
And so we had Thanksgiving at Gary's sister's house. And we did not cook Thanksgiving dinner this year.
Yeah, we got a Publix Thanksgiving turkey
Yeah.
spread.
Publix cooked it for us, and it was weird because like the way that they advertised it was like, let us cook your Thanksgiving dinner, and we go and we get it, which was a whole ordeal. You guys can go check out the video and just see that whole ordeal. And we get it back home, and it's just a
Butterball cooked turkey.
butterball cooked turkey.
Like Publix, she didn't cook us anything. It's a butterball cooked turkey.
Which, cool, like it's already cooked, but like I was like, this thing's not gonna taste like anything, so I had to zhuzh it up a little bit, and I think it was okay. We still had to put it in the oven for I think 90 minutes, so it cut the cooking time by like astronomically, because
Yeah,
usually it's
like
like 4 or 5
90%,
hours. The sides were okay. The only side that I think we didn't end up liking, nobody liked, was the green bean casserole, so pass on that next year if you're thinking about it. But it turned out good. Like, it was like the perfect amount of food for everyone, and nobody had to really stress about it, so we tried that. We've never really tried that before. Because everybody had busy lives, we wanted to give it a go, and it was only about $120 for that meal, so it was cost effective too.
Another like first time.
Yeah.
I mean, you imagine all these stories we told you are basically first times for us, other than Vegas. Most of this has been first time. We were on Route 66 a little bit, but almost everything new
First.
experience.
Yeah.
And then we spent a lot of time like looking at Christmas lights. We went to all like
Yeah.
the like Helens and Delonigas. We saw a bunch in Atlanta. I mean, we did a lot of Christmassy stuff this season, which was fun. I'm a big fan of Christmas lights, so that's one of my favorite things.
We
about
had a lot
holidays.
more that we wanted to do, but unfortunately we weren't able to do it all. We really wanted to go, and we wanted to go back to Florida, and we wanted to do some time in Orlando so we could go to the ice sculpture thing
At the Gaylords.
at the Gaylord, and then we were also going to try and go to the one in Nashville and see that one as well. So next year, 100% for sure, we're going to go to a Gaylord. We're not sure which one, but we're going to make it happen next year.
Yeah, it's just figuring out the schedule, which we're still sort of working at. We've only been doing this for 2 years, and
We're
it's
getting
still
there. We're
sort of a
learning.
learning in progress. And that pretty much takes us through the year. So that's kind of our year recap.
Yeah.
Amazing year.
It was a great year.
One of a kind. We traveled more this year than most people do in their entire lives.
Yeah.
And it was so worth it.
He got
Food
platinum.
poisoning more times than I can count.
Yeah, that too. He got platinum status on Delta this year.
Oh yeah, bling bling.
Bling bling. We also hit top tier status for her hotels this year and rental cars. So if that tells you anything, we definitely, hey, make it work for you. That's all I gotta say. My goal is one day to fly on Emirates, and I think that would be a wonderful experience because
Yes,
all I see is really cool shit about Emirates, and I want to see that one day. One day. So looking into next year, as we kind of mentioned earlier in the podcast, we have some interesting adventures that we want to throw out there.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and go back to St. Augustine, for sure. We're gonna probably spend a couple of trips down in Florida. We're gonna definitely do a couple of trips around where we're at. We're gonna go hopefully to Dollywood because I've never been to Dollywood. Gatlinburg's on our list of places. I went to Gatlinburg for like a youth group thing when I was in high school many years ago. Many. I actually had Crystal Burger for like the first time when I went to Gatlinburg. That is the only thing I remember from that trip is Crystal Burger.
Wow.
And I wasn't impressed.
It's not, I mean, it's an okay burger place. It's not special.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed.
So we're going to try to do 5 different new cities.
Yeah,
and 5 new
5.
experiences.
For 2025.
For 2025. So we've got that.
Yep. And we're hoping to do way more lives next year.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure it out. We haven't figured out the chat thing yet.
Mm-hmm.
So to integrate the chat with the lives, because for us, we just see your comments pop up, and if we
Yeah.
don't read them, they disappear. So we're still sort of working on that. So we appreciate you guys coming along with us and while we figure that part out.
Yeah. So that'll be kind of our. I think 2025 is gonna be a cool year. I think
it'll be fun.
I think we're gonna see a lot of things happen next year. Maybe some we're prepared for, maybe some we're not. We're gonna get our passports, hopefully this year.
We got our stuff filled out. We just got to print it, get our pictures taken, and finish the actual part with the government, like filing it and stuff.
And I think we're gonna try and go back to Niagara and do Canada, do the Canadian side, make that like our first trip, keep it kind of close to home, and hopefully like venture further out. I really want to go to Hawaii next year, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. I've been talking about it for the last till I'm blue in the face. I want to go to Hawaii. Just gotta sit down, book the flight. Just gotta book it.
Yep.
I think like Seattle was like going back to Seattle was kind of on our list too because they have a lavender festival up like in Washington State. That sounds like amazing because they have like huge lavender fields and then they have a whole festival around it. And to get to go back there when it's not so gloomy, dark, and cold, I think might be nice because it was gloomy, dark, and cold when we went.
Yeah, I think it's always really dark and cold in Seattle.
We're gonna try and do the Home Alone experience in New York City.
Yeah.
That's also something we want to do. I really want to do like a Christmassy thing in New York City. I want to ice skate at Rockefeller Center and see the Christmas tree. I don't really care if it's like right at Christmas time personally. If we could do it like right after Thanksgiving, like as things start to come out before it gets crazy, that might be what we try to do.
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of big plans for next year, so definitely subscribe if you want to see those.
Yeah, so now we've got about 40 minutes until midnight. And I guess we're going to hang out. We're going to hang out till midnight.
Hanging on the live till midnight?
I don't know. Did you want to?
I wasn't planning on it. We said we were going to do about an hour like usual.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we're not going to hang out till midnight. I thought maybe we would bring in the new year. But it's okay. It's late. And I am on call tomorrow.
Yeah, you are on call tomorrow.
But I think next year is going to be really cool. really excited for it. And what are, okay, so we'll end with this. What is the one wish that you have for next year? For 2025? Put him on the spot. I put him on the spot.
Well, just to have a good year. What's your wish for next year?
I hope that by the end of 2025 we can look back and say that it was once again one of the best years ever.
Okay.
And I don't know what that entails. I have no idea, because, you know, like, you look at pictures of yourself and you're like, if I could go back and tell older me all of the things that I did, they wouldn't believe me.
Well, even we were looking at pictures, we looked at 2018 was, I think it was 2018, was
Yep.
the first time that we went to Disney together. We were sitting in front of the castle when it had the lights on it, not the lame projections. And we're just sitting there and like, if we could tell ourselves where we are now and what we're feeling now, those people wouldn't believe
No.
where we are now and what we're doing. So it's like, you know, the world changes so quickly
Yeah.
that it's just riding the tide at this point. I'm not really sure what the future's going to hold, not really sure what the direction we're going to go in, but
Yeah.
just want to do good.
I think the biggest thing is to just keep being yourself and being true to who you are. And if you want to go somewhere and you want to see something, just keep trying to do it. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on your dreams.
The more you know.
Don't do it. Just don't do it. Because I think if we had given up, we had so many opportunities we could have given up, and we didn't.
Yeah.
And I get it, life is hard, and the universe sucks sometimes, but I think everybody eventually sometime will get to where they want to get to if they just don't give up. It might take me longer. You never know. You never know what the timeline's gonna look like. I had a sneeze that didn't come out. It tickled in my nose. Ugh. But that was funny to see. It felt weird. But yeah, I think just keep dreaming.
Yeah, just keep dreaming. And we hope you all have a great New Year's. And
Happy New Year.
we hope you get whatever you're wishing for tonight, whatever you're hoping for your next year.
Yep.
I hope that you get it, and I hope this year was good too for you.
And we love you guys. Thank you for all the love and support for the channel,
Yeah.
for us, for everything, and many well wishes.
So we'll see you all next year.
We'll see you next year. Bye. How do I stop it? Yes.